In 2025, most people think they already know what happened to Olly Pearson, the 11-year-old guitar prodigy who had the golden buzzer moment and the viral explosion. But here's what almost no one tells you. What happened after the camera stopped rolling is far more surprising than what happened on stage. In this video, we're going to reveal the part of Olly's story that never made the headlines, and why his life today looks nothing like what the internet expected. Olly still lives in Wrexham, Wales. That detail matters more than it might seem. Wrexham is a town where routines matter. Neighbors know one another, and where a child can still walk down the street without being reduced to a headline. Staying rooted there has shaped Olly's post-Britain's Got Talent life in a way that no management decision ever could. He didn't relocate to London. He didn't move into an industry bubble. He stayed home, went back to school, and returned to the same environment where his love for music first developed. That love began long before television entered the picture. Olly's childhood was built around curiosity. When he was about 6 or 7 years old, he saw a street performer playing guitar and felt an immediate pull toward the instrument. It was fascination with sound, movement, and expression. His grandfather, a former guitarist himself, noticed that spark and encouraged it. What followed were hours of practice that had no audience, pressure, and no expectation of reward. Those early years matter because they explain why Olly's playing never felt forced. He wasn't trained to impress judges. He was learning because he wanted to. During the COVID lockdowns, when many children struggled with boredom and isolation, Olly leaned further into music. He practiced constantly. Sometimes he played outside for neighbors, simply to share something positive during a strange and quiet time. Those moments built confidence and connection in a way no stage show ever could. By the time Olly auditioned for Britain's Got Talent in 2025, he already had years of genuine experience behind him. When he walked onto the stage, carrying an electric guitar that looked almost oversized for his frame, the audience expected novelty. But what they got instead was conviction. He tore into a rock medley inspired by bands like AC/DC, Van Halen, and Queen, with a focus that felt instinctive rather than rehearsed. The reaction was immediate. Crowd erupted. Judges leaned forward. And when Amanda Holden pressed the golden buzzer, it felt less like a scripted television moment and more like a genuine emotional response. That single act changed Olly's life overnight. The clip spread across social media, racking up millions of views. Guitarists reacted. Music teachers shared it with students, and headlines declared him a prodigy and, in some cases, the future of rock. What followed, however, was not any fairy tale acceleration that many people expected. Olly progressed through the competition, performing live in the semi-finals and final, adapting to pressure with a calm that surprised even seasoned viewers. Judges such as Simon Cowell commented on how rare it was to see such composure at that age. When the series ended and Olly placed fourth, there was no sense of loss, only a sense that something important had begun. Within the music industry, finishing outside first place is rarely a disadvantage, especially for young performers. Industry professionals often view restraint as a sign of longevity. Winning can bring instant pressure, contractual obligations, and expectations a child is not equipped to manage. Placing fourth allowed Olly Pearson to exit the show with visibility, but without the weight of a commercial narrative forced onto him. In many cases, this is considered the healthiest possible outcome for a child musician. Recognition without confinement, opportunity without obligation. After the finale aired, the internet did what it often does. Stories grew larger than reality, and claims circulated that Olly had received 2 golden buzzers, rules had been bent for him, that he had played songs he never performed, or that he had joined massive international events and secured high-level endorsements. None of these claims were properly verified. They were products of hype, repetition, and the human tendency to exaggerate extraordinary stories. On platforms like Reddit, the reaction to Olly Pearson has been noticeably more measured. In guitar-focused and talent show discussion threads, fans and musicians alike have pushed back against exaggerated claims, clarifying performances, correcting misinformation, and emphasizing his age and developmental stage. Reddit discussions often highlight his timing, tone, and musical instincts while stressing the importance of patience. The dominant sentiment protection. and understanding that raw talent benefits most from time, guidance, and distance from pressure. What actually happened after Britain's Got Talent was far quieter and far healthier. Olly went home. He returned to school and kept practicing. His parents remained firmly in control of his schedule and public presence, ensuring that music stayed a joy rather than an obligation. Social media activity continued, but in moderation. Short guitar clips, practice videos, and messages of gratitude to fans. Nothing relentless, and nothing that suggested burnout. Olly also began performing live in controlled settings. Local festivals, charity events, guitar shows, and small public appearances allowed him to gain experience without overwhelming pressure. These performances were about learning how it feels to play for different audiences, how to manage nerves without cameras, and how to enjoy music in real-world settings. One of the most frequently asked questions about Olly Pearson in 2025 concerns net worth. The honest answer is that there is no verified figure, and that is entirely appropriate. Olly did not win the £250,000 BGT prize, and there is no public evidence of major record deals or lucrative sponsorships. Any income he may have earned comes from modest performance fees, small appearances, or gifted equipment. At this stage, his career is not financially driven. It is development-driven. That approach reflects a broader philosophy guiding his family's decisions. Education remains a priority. Olly is still in school, completing homework, and still living a largely normal life for someone his age. He continues to take guitar lessons and has expanded into learning drums, broadening his musical understanding rather than narrowing it too early. There is no rush to define his sound or lock him into a specific path. Music educators often emphasize that the most critical years for young musicians are defined by foundation. Technical growth, rhythmic understanding, listening skills, and creative confidence develop best when pressure is limited and curiosity is protected. By continuing formal lessons, experimenting with multiple instruments, and remaining outside the commercial spotlight, Olly is building a musical base that supports adaptability rather than early specialization. This approach dramatically increases the likelihood that his relationship with music will endure. When asked about the future, Olly speaks carefully and honestly. He has hinted that he would like to write his own music someday, but only when he feels ready. There are no promises of albums or tours, no declarations of superstardom, just curiosity and ambition in its healthiest form, the desire to improve. What makes Olly's story particularly compelling in 2025 is the way it has been handled. The history of child performers is filled with examples of pressure and overwhelming potential. In Olly's case, there have been no public signs of burnout, distress, or overexposure. If anything, he appears happier and more confident, proud that other children are picking up guitars because of him. His continued presence in Wrexham reinforces that stability. Remaining in a familiar environment has kept his fame contextual rather than consuming. He is known locally beyond just as the kid from TV, but as a student, neighbor, and a young musician still learning his craft. So where is Olly Pearson in 2025? He is a young guitarist at the very beginning of a long journey, grounded by family, protected by thoughtful choices, and guided by genuine love for music. Whether Olly eventually becomes a touring rock musician, songwriter, session player, or simply someone who carries music with him throughout life remains to be seen. What is already clear is that his story is beyond that one television moment. It is defined by patience, authenticity, and a childhood that has been allowed to remain a childhood. In an era that often rushes talent toward outcomes, Olly Pearson stands out by doing something rare. He is taking his time, and in the long run, that may be the most powerful decision of all.